Hello, my name is Mojica and I'm a professor at Northeastern Illinois University here in Chicago. And I want to thank the Social Science and Humanities Research Association for this invitation to present my study. I would like to talk to you today about COVID-19, and particularly how it has affected social work students. As you all know, COVID-19 has impacted many of us in so many ways, and students of social work are not the exception. There are gaps in our knowledge about how COVID has impacted college students, and this study is part of that in terms of understanding the challenges, the needs, and the adjustments that social work students as well as field instructors have to face since the pandemic began. We also want to explore what recommendations these participants have so that we can also implement additional changes in the way that we teach and learn. Our methodology was done mostly online, and this is because of the pandemic, and it was easier to access students this way. There was a one-time online student and field instructor survey that was shared via a link, and we're still gathering data for the field instructors. Also, only students who were enrolled in the bachelor's and master's programs in social work were allowed to participate, and the field instructors who were affiliated with our social work programs. So the sample size was 168 students. In terms of the demographics, we have that the majority of the participants identified as female, but we also had a smaller minority of males. This is very representative of our professional field, where those who are females are the ones who compose the majority of our graduates. In regards to the ethnicity, here you see that we have wide representation of individuals from minoritized groups, and this is also representative of our institution because we target these populations, in particularly those groups from minoritized communities such as Latinx, Asian, and African Americans. In terms of age, there is a wide distribution because, you know, these are students who come from the bachelor's degree as well as the graduate programs. We have the younger crowd, but also some more mature individuals participating. In terms of the program, we have almost half and half of undergraduate students and graduate students from the master's program. In terms of their internship, this is part of their requirements. They have to be enrolled in a program where they have a hands-on experience in the field. And so most of the students were enrolled in a field placement. We also explore their access to technology because with education nowadays being mostly remote, we are now going back to face-to-face, but a big chunk of the time has to be done online. We have to report that basically all the students had a laptop or desktop computer to connect to their content for class. But we also have to say that a majority of them had to purchase new devices. So this is an additional financial burden on them. In terms of their internet access, also we have to say that a considerable number of them have to upgrade their services. So along with purchasing computer equipment, they also have to upgrade their internet access, so additional financial expenses. Most of the students connected to their internet with their home connection. So this was something that you notice when you're teaching, where students are mostly at home. In terms of their preferred method to deliver the content from class, there is a wide variety of preferences, but they tend to gravitate more towards liking the hybrid, or where you have some sessions that are remote and other sessions that are face-to-face. But also you see those who like the synchronous are 24%, and those who like to do work on their own, which is more of the asynchronous modality, are also represented in the sample. Some of the comments that students make was, for example, I'm an older student who basically learned better in class. Another said that I appreciate the flexibility of being remote because travel time is an issue, and so is childcare. And another student also talked about having to work full-time and also study. Here is another student comment in terms of enjoying creating their own schedule, but also being able to listen to other classmates, to learn from their questions. And so sharing that space, whether it's remote, it's important for this student. We noticed that the majority of the students really had a very good experience with their online learning, but you also see that from one year to the other, the number of those students who indicated having a poor or very poor online learning experience also increased. In terms of the environment where they connect to their remote teaching and classes, many of them indicated that it's very good or good. However, 17% said that it was poor. So this is about having a space that is quiet, having a space that feels private. And so this is an area where students sometimes struggle finding that adequate space. There were different situations that really concerned them. And at the top of the list, you see that it was changes to their emotional well-being. Some of them also had concerns about changes to their physical well-being. And there were some financial concerns as well as an increase in childcare responsibilities and having to take care of children who now were at home. The majority of them didn't have primary caregiving responsibilities, but we do notice that some of them had to provide caregiving for the elderly or additional family members. We also asked them about their access to food, and this is another area of concern. As you notice, a majority of them said that they had enough of what they wanted to eat, but we also see here that 35% did not have always the food that they wanted to eat, and then 10% of the students didn't have enough to eat. In terms of reporting anxiety or feeling nervous in the last 7 days, basically all of them experienced some kind of anxiety or feeling nervous. And so this is another area to consider when it comes to their mental health. And so where does this leaves us in terms of some preliminary analysis and recommendations? And we have to say that the participants in our study had a wide variety of preferences when it comes to their learning. And so it's important to highlight that some of them like the chat, others like the discussion boards. And as I mentioned before, many of them also like a hybrid or a combination of methods. So this is really important for us who are educators to think about. And also, we want to highlight all the adversity and the difficulties and the challenges that our students have faced and continue to face. And in the midst of all of that, they continue to thrive. And that is a very positive aspect. It's a protective factor that many students have, and it shows their level of resilience. And so they demonstrate their interest and their capacity to beat the odds and to bounce back in the midst of such difficult times as we're living with this pandemic. And so it's very important to understand that there are all these other psychosocial determinants, that is not only the individuals and their families, but that there are issues with employment, there are issues with their finances, and all the other systems that also have an impact on their well-being. And so in this current context, our initial recommendations for education institutions is to be flexible, is to be creative and be resourceful, and to listen to what students are requiring, and understand that we are moving from a way that was mostly face-to-face in classroom to one that is more hybrid, where students can also learn in other modalities with other methodologies, and universities have to pay attention to these trends, have to understand that times are changing, and that in a way, we are not necessarily going back to where we were before the pandemic. And so understanding those changes and those shifts will also be conducive to institutions being at the forefront in their education experience. And so in terms of our next steps, we have to continue with our focus groups, particularly with the field instructors that will give us additional information and data, and analyze other sets of data, in particularly also from our collaborators from the other university that are still conducting their study, and share these knowledge and make recommendations to our faculty, to our program, and see how they can implement and integrate some of these comments and suggestions that students are providing us, so that we can enhance the way that we teach and the student learning experience. I've included a selected bibliography for those of you who want to go deeper into exploring this topic. And that's all for now. I want to thank you all for your time, and you can reach me on my email here. Thank you so much.